So the Chiefs rookie minicamp just concluded, and it's clear they've got some dogs in the lineup, with several of them having standout performances over the weekend. So I've got to dive into that and talk about who's climbing the ranks, talk about some roster moves being made, one of them being pretty surprising, Mahomes' brother even being at minicamp, and more. But first, how about those? Alright, so Chiefs rookie minicamp is officially over, and there is a ton to get into from the 3-day camp, including pressers from 10 Chiefs players plus Andy Reid, but I thought this was pretty funny and worth sharing first. Patrick Mahomes attended a beach party for F1 Miami Grand Prix, and my favorite photo of that was definitely this one. Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady sharing a quick photo together, but the best part of all this is the fact that Mahomes looked like he had at least 8 Coors Light by this time. He can slam those down pretty easily, so it's not me being accusatory here, but it looks like he's having a great time, to say the least. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, his brother was actually invited to Chiefs rookie minicamp over the weekend. No, not this one, but this one. This is Mahomes' half-brother Graham Walker, a wide receiver who most recently played tight end for Rice University. He had 24 catches for 252 yards, a bit of a dip statistically from when he played his first 3 years at Brown University, but Rice is more competitive as it's part of the AAC. Still though, it's pretty cool seeing him out there and working, even though I have no idea if he's going to make the roster. I would say at this point in time it's an uphill battle even to make the 90 for sure, but you never know what could happen, and in case you were wondering, Graham and Patrick share the same father, so Pat Mahomes Sr., with Graham saying that Patrick has reached out to him during his last year at Rice to offer guidance and encouragement. So, pretty cool. I also wanted to point out over the weekend that some of the Chiefs draft picks signed their rookie deals, but the most notable one was Josh Simmons. He signed a 4-year fully guaranteed contract worth $14.6 million. This is why, if you can land a starting level tackle in the draft, it is well worth it. Jalen Moore, the team's perceived to be starting left tackle this year, not even considered an expensive starting left tackle. Probably part of the reason is because he's only started 12 games in his NFL career, but I digress. But his contract was 2 years, $30 million. Meanwhile, Josh Simmons will cost just 1 year of Jalen's contract over the span of 4 years. They have the ability to pick up his 5th-year option as well, but that's a concern for another year. Andy Reid shared with the media over the weekend that Josh Simmons is mainly doing individual work. No teamwork right now. They're just seeing where he's at with his knee, making sure it's strong, but he looks like he's moving around well, which surprised Andy Reid a little bit by how well he was indeed moving and how comfortable he looked out there. Josh Simmons shared that he's attacking rehab, with that being his main priority from now all the way until training camp. It was a frustrating injury, but he was having a great 2024 season, so he's going to be using that as motivation as he continues attacking his rehab and aiming to get back to 100%. Right now, he's diving into the playbook and taking all the mental reps, but whatever he's allowed to do out there, he's going to do it as full steam ahead as humanly possible. He said that he's fine to be a starter this year, help as a backup, whatever they think is best, he's down. There's a lot of vets in the room, so he just wants to put his head down and work kind of quietly while staying out of their way. But again, he's here to do whatever is needed for the team. Basically, when it comes to rookie minicamp, most of these players are drinking from a fire hose for 3 days, getting installs, playbook, walkthroughs, doing practice, non-contact practice, but it's kind of a lot. So they're just trying to do all they can to learn as much of the playbook as possible over the span of those 3 days. It's really to help get them a jump start for when the vets arrive in June for mandatory minicamp. Andy Reid shared that this is mainly a receiving camp, but they're still watching every position group diligently, from the draftees to the signed UDFAs to those who even just got a minicamp invite. Andy Reid said that while he hasn't seen a ton out of KC's 7th round running back Brashard Smith yet, I believe he spoke to the media after just 1 day of practice. He did say Smith has some good hands out there and looks like he's got that low center of gravity like other running backs. He moves differently than Jerick McKinnon did, but he's got talent, that's for sure. The speedy 7th rounder said himself that there's a lot to learn from here as far as the playbook is concerned, but once he gets that down, the rest is going to come naturally. The Chiefs' social media team even showed a clip of him catching a pass, and I can confirm that man looks fast. He had the 3rd fastest 40 time among all running backs in this year's draft class after all. He ran a 4.3940, so It makes sense when you see it on camera, but at the same time, it's like, okay, yeah, he really is that fast. Confirmation, let's freaking go. Smith believes that his former experience as a wide receiver is going to allow him to play well in this offense, and he feels his skill set is unique, saying, quote, "I'm going to show who I am for sure." Well, he's certainly intriguing to me. He played a lot of running back growing up, but was recruited to college as a slot receiver, and after 3 years as a receiver with Miami, he transferred to SMU to kind of be their Isaiah Pacheco running back, and he racked up nearly 2,000 yards from scrimmage. He's confident in what he can bring to the table in this offense, even saying he didn't really care about his number when he was asked about why he chose to wear number 30. Instead, he's here to focus up, learn as much of the playbook as possible, and show the coaches what he can do. Now, another player with talent is KC's fourth rounder, wide receiver Jalen Royals. He actually shared that at the combine during his testing, the foot injury that caused him to miss the final 5 games of the 2024 season wasn't even fully healed up yet. Well, that's pretty impressive because while not at 100%, he still racked up a 9.01 relative athletic score, ran a 4.42 40, and also had the fastest 10-yard split of any receiver in this year's draft class. So if he was healthy, maybe, like Brashard Smith, he could have ran a sub 4.4 40. Jalen said he's very happy to be here with KC, and as a bigger-bodied receiver, he draws inspiration from wideouts like Devontae Adams and A.J. Brown, tries to glean from them and implement elements of their game into his. He mainly played X, so on the outside in college, but he did play a little more in the slot his last year, so he's aiming to be a bit more versatile for this offense. Andy Reid's offense is complex, and his goal is to learn every receiver position out there, taking things day by day. Royals was also one of the standouts at rookie minicamp, having a busy day 2 per Matt McMullen, the Chiefs senior reporter, racking up 10 catches between 11 on 11 and 7 on 7. Another guy who had a standout day at camp was the undrafted free agent from Clemson that the Chiefs recently signed, and that's tight end Jake Briningstool. He made 2 of the day's top plays with a pair of leaping catches despite good coverage. He's one of the guys I said the day after they signed him that we should keep very close eyes on him because he's coming off of back-to-back near 50 catch seasons for roughly 500 yards and 6 touchdowns each year. Briningstool also spoke with the media and said he signed with the Chiefs because after talking with Coach Reid on the phone, he presented a great game plan for him. He also liked the idea of coming in here to learn from a great tight end room and plans on taking full advantage of that opportunity. He said that talking with Andy Reid himself was pretty unique. I think there were like 4 teams interested, and none of their head coaches were the ones that talked with them aside from Andy Reid and the Chiefs. So that stood out to him and how much they valued him. He feels like his skill set would fit nicely in the Chiefs offense, and I agree. The guy played 60% out of the slot as a hybrid tight end in college, but he's also a very willing blocker, improving every year, and he did confirm with the media he's willing to do that and more to provide as much value as he can to the team. A former Kansas Jayhawk fullback turned tight end was also at minicamp, and tight end Jared Casey. He said that he's blessed to have the opportunity to earn a spot on the roster, especially since he played college ball not too far away from Arrowhead. Andy Reid does love his fullbacks, so that's an interesting thing here to think about with Jared Casey. He's a fullback, at least his freshman year, turned tight end the remaining 3 years, so he brings that blocking ability plus the pass catching ability along with him. He made a nice one-handed snag at camp over the weekend that stood out, so that's a bit of a plus for him over somebody, say, Carson Steele, who was the fullback last year. I'm not saying Jared Casey will make the roster over Carson Steele or anything like that because he can catch the ball better, but his pass catching ability is certainly a benefit over Steele in comparison. That's far from a fullback's primary role or anything crazy like that, so it may not matter at the end of the day, but it was interesting enough to bring up for sure. Something else that was interesting is that the Chiefs waived 2 players over the weekend on May 3rd, linebacker Blake Lynch, but more interestingly, their former 5th-round pick and defensive end BJ Thompson. If you remember, last summer Thompson suffered a seizure and went into cardiac arrest during a team meeting. The Chiefs medical staff had to rush in there, and they were actually able to bring him back, get him stabilized before he was transported to a local hospital by ambulance. He eventually made enough progress to be released, but has yet been able to make enough progress to play football. So the team waived him. It's not a callous move here by any means, because if BJ clears waivers, he should, they will place him on the IR/NFI list as he continues to rehab. Andy Reid said that he's making progress, so that's good, making some great strides in fact, but he's not quite there yet. They had to do something though, since he's not quite ready still, and so this is the route they went with him, and that'll have him not taking up a roster spot, but also still be able to get the help that he needs at the same time. On the subject of the D-line and defensive ends. A newly drafted guy in Ashton Gillotte spoke with the media, and you can tell how excited he is to be here. He's already talked with the guy he's trained with in the offseason, George Karlaftis, who he's now teammates with, to get a lay of the land, where to go eat, all that fun stuff. And he's here to soak up that playbook and learn as much as he can, as quickly as he can. I thought this was pretty cool too. He donated most of his NIL money that he made in college to charity to help with homelessness and vets, saying he feels like it's the right thing to do, a calling God placed on him, and so that's what he thinks he's supposed to do because he doesn't really need much in life. Another defensive lineman and defensive tackle, Omarr Norman-Lott, is blessed to be here in KC. He's confident he'll be able to learn the playbook quickly, even though Spags' scheme is complex. He also went on to speak about his lack of reps in college. He was asked about it by the media, and he said of course he wanted to play more, but they had 6 defensive tackles on the roster that he thought could all be starters in the SEC, and the play style of that defense was to intentionally rotate guys in and out to keep them fresh, and Norman-Lott feels like he made the best of the opportunities he was given. Well, yeah, when you're in the 99th percentile in pass rush, win rate, and win percentage, I would say you're making the most of your opportunities out there. Cornerback Nohl Williams is a guy that certainly made the most of his opportunities in college, as he had 7 interceptions just last year alone. He could even be seen out there flying around and picking off a pass intended for a Chiefs staff member, which I found to be pretty funny and pretty on brand as well. He shared that lots of work on the jugs machine and visualization of making plays on the ball is part of why he's been so successful at breaking up passes and picking off quarterbacks throughout his college career. Dave Merritt, the Chiefs defensive backs coach, has been around for a long time, and Nohl feels he can learn a lot from him to continue to grow into the player he wants to be. It's still very early, but he's here to play anywhere in the secondary and even do the dirty work on special teams as well. Next up, linebacker Jeffrey Bassa was probably one of my favorite interviews of the bunch. He shared how his experience as a former safety helps him in communication with the coverage aspect of things. He was the Mike linebacker last year in college, wearing the green dot, which essentially meant he was the quarterback of the defense, getting everybody organized. Well, he then said even if he has to be matched up with the receiver or a tight end in crucial situations, isn't a big mismatch for him either, and he takes pride in being able to help do that in coverage. Well, I like to hear that because the more talent from a coverage aspect in the linebacker room there is, the better. We know that's not the strength of Nick Bolton per se, and while Bassa is not going to be replacing Nick Bolton, it'll never hurt having another coverage linebacker out there from time to time. Something exciting to me about Bassa is how much he loves the game of football. He said he considers himself a film junkie, so much so that he studies both the offense and defense in depth. I'm sure every player has to study both sides of the ball in some capacity, but the fact that he spends his time off studying film for the pure love of the game means KC got a great one here from a mentality standpoint in Jeffrey Bassa. Again, they were shocked when he was still available in the 5th round and had to go up and get him. And then this is pretty awesome. He chose to wear the number 31 in part to honor his former teammate in the late Kyrie Jackson. They played together one season at Oregon before Kyrie was drafted in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, but he tragically passed away in a car crash just a few months later. It was a pretty sad ordeal with the car he was riding in as the passenger got ran off the road by a drunk driver, and all 3 individuals in that vehicle passed away. So 31 is a number Bassa is wearing to honor his former college teammate in Kyrie, and for that reason alone, I might have to go and get me a number 31 Chiefs jersey ASAP. Another standout player at minicamp is wide receiver Elijah Badger, a guy who went undrafted but has a chip on his shoulder because he feels like he should have been drafted. So he definitely feels like he's got more to prove, and regardless of that, he was humble in that answer, just so you know. It wasn't like a prideful response at all. He seemed like just a great guy, great young man. I'm getting old when I have to say young man and the dude's like 23, 24, but he said he's honored to be here in KC. It's his dream to make it to the NFL, and he feels good out there, taking things day by day with the goal of being as consistent as possible. He's running around confident and feels up to the task at hand, and as a reminder, he's built similar to Jalen Royals. He's older at 24, but he's 6'1", 200 pounds, and even though he only had 39 catches last year, he had 0 drops and racked up 806 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, which was an average of over 20 yards per catch. He has an uphill battle to make the 53-man roster, but I am rooting for him and think he is a potential dark horse, so let's see what happens over the next few months. Some of the guys that stood out during rookie minicamp, Jalen Royals, tight end Jake Briningstool, Brashard Smith, and even Elijah Badger, they are not a huge surprise as standouts, but at the same time, it's still very early here. There's no pads being worn yet, and no contact is allowed. Still, though, it's progress. Make sure to let me know your thoughts on the Chiefs rookie minicamp in the comments down below. How are you feeling about the state of the roster? Are you feeling as confident as I am? I think this is a great looking roster so far. They addressed a lot of the weaknesses from last year and built upon that, making me very excited for the potential of the Chiefs having a great season as long as everybody stays healthy. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?